get it. It's a wasted third-round pick, but you want that third-round pick to step in there. And then look at your backups. It's Isaiah McDuffie and Isaiah Simmons. You feel really good about that linebacker room, you know?
Yep.
I
feel really good about Tyron Hopper getting every single opportunity to win that spot as well. You know, they're going to push that, give him every chance to go ahead and make this team in that role, you know?
Yeah, and we've been talking versatility. We haven't even talked about Colin Oliver. Like, Colin Oliver might fit right into that. They may get into camp and they go, you know what? Colin Oliver's the third best stack backer, and he'll just bypass everyone. They also could get into camp and go, wow, this guy's got some serious bend and quickness off the edge. Let's let him rush as kind of that hybrid outside linebacker, like a Leo or a Viper, that type of look. So it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be – I'm telling you, this camp is going to be absolutely awesome. Coach Lynn says that he's a ball of clay. You can mold him into what you want him to do. I just would not trust Cincy to use him correctly. Shoot, they can't even figure out how to pay him. Talking about Shamar Stewart. That's very well said. Very well said. All right. So there you go. Just a little Isaiah Simmons talk. I thought that was pretty cool. Let's get back to the poll question now. Again, the poll question was, and this was a tough one. I hated to answer it myself. The comments on this tweet are hilarious. Let me go ahead and refresh it one time, make sure that we get the most up-to-date here. If you could only keep one of the following, who would it be? Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, or Brian Gutekunst? We have 247 votes so far over on X, and we're just about, it was roughly an hour ago. So, we got a pretty good saturation here. Leading the way is Jordan Love at 59.1%. Matt LaFleur is second at 31.2%, and Brian Gutekunst is third at 9.7%. Now, going to our YouTube stream, Jordan Love leads the way at 53%. Matt LaFleur, 31%. Brian Gutekunst, 17%. So it's in the same exact order. Wow. Both X and YouTube, they all agree. So I want to ask you guys, and I don't care who goes first. You fire away. You guys decide amongst yourselves. Who would you pick of those three? Who you keep?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I love Jordan Love.
Emilio's afraid to get roasted right now.
I know. I'm not even afraid to get roasted. It's just I'm real bad at making those tough decisions, you know? I love Jordan Love. I love Brian. I think I'm going to go with Matt, though.
Matt, got it. What about you, Tim?
Yeah, I'd probably go with Matt first, and then J Money, then Goody. So, Matt LaFleur, if I could only keep one.
I completely agree. And the fact that everyone is choosing Jordan Love other than us, that gives me a lot of hope, boys, in Jordan Love right now. Now, why am I choosing Matt LaFleur, me personally? He won with Aaron, obviously, right? Aaron coming off of a down year, went back-to-back MVPs under Matt LaFleur's offense. He switches to a quarterback, didn't skip a beat. First-year starter, they go to the playoffs. They get a huge playoff win on the road at Dallas. Then last year, with his quarterback struggling and battling 3 injuries, he goes out and leads the team to 11 wins. And I say that because people say even with 3 injuries, they won 11 wins. They got 11 wins with Jordan Love last year. Now, 2 of them came with Malik Willis at the helm. So we've got to mention that. The fact that Matt LaFleur on a short notice was able to take Malik Willis and just like, hey, let's mold an offense around him. And Emilio, we've seen it firsthand in Tennessee. It looked like Malik Willis and Matt LaFleur have been working together forever. That's probably the tiebreaker for me is how he handled that situation. That, and of course, he's just one of the all-time highest, winning percentages as well as a coach.
Right. Add to that, coaches can be around longer than players can, right? I mean, Matt could coach for an extended amount of time. And to the point of Malik Willis, that would Mike and Wes were talking about that on Packers Unscripted, and they both said how did we get so lucky in getting Malik Willis? How did the Packers know to go out and, they knew that Tennessee didn't want him? How did they know to go out and get a 7th-round pick, spend it on him? Because they were saying they would have been too far down on the waiver claims for Malik would have been gone by that time, right? So go out, take that chance. He came in late in the offseason. They gave him a couple weeks to learn it, and then it's like, bam, you're starting. Like J Love got hurt. Week 2, you're starting. Week 3, you're starting. Matt LaFleur, Tom Clements, right? He helped, but the fact that Matt was able to game plan, get him ready, get wins, and get out of there with 1, 2, 3 separate quarterbacks now. I mean,
yeah,
I really think he's doing his thing, and I would put my money on him moving forward.
I agree. That's a testament to Matt as a head coach. I mean, you got to think that he really, really quickly probably sat down with Tom Clements and Malik and said, "Hey, let's put together a package. What kind of game plan do you want? How do you want to attack, your opponents these next couple of games?" And I'm sure we know about Malik Willis. He can hum that tater, but he can also tuck that ball and run. And he's great in the play action game too. And you saw that we went run heavy and, just pounded the rock and got out of there with some wins. So that's a testament to our head coach, man, being able to be flexible like that. I mean, if you can win with a backup, you can win with a Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers, and you can win with Jay Money, a young star on the rise. I mean, it just shows the flexibility in his ability to put together a game plan. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and the other aspect of it too is like the running game. You go from Aaron Jones and running a wide zone scheme, essentially.
Yep.
And then you bring in Josh Jacobs. And in less than a year, right, one off season, you flip it to pretty much a duo heavy running game. And you're running between the tackles and matching up play action off of that and doing it out of the gun because your quarterback was banged up and couldn't get under center. Like, there's just so many factors. I'm like, yeah.
And you're willing to change, right? You're not stuck in your roots. You're not that's how Andy Reid, has gotten to where he was. He was kind of a different coach. Let's work it around. Let's move it. And your offense is always changing. And I think that Matt can go with the flow, right?
Yeah. Ron Sample says Matt can go if we can keep half. I love Matt, but it's hard to get a quarterback. So what he's saying is he would choose Jordan Love and promote Jeff Hafley, right? Here's the thing about that too. If Jeff Hafley's promoted, who's your OC?
You better have one hell of an OC, man.
Yeah. And on top of that, Tim, the thing that sticks out to me, and I understand your point, Ron. I think it's a great point. I really do, because Haf is head coach material. There's no two ways about it. But we love Hafley, right? And we give Jeff Hafley all due credit. He deserves it for what he did with that defense last year. Can someone remind me who handpicked Jeff Hafley as the DC? I think it was Matt LaFleur, right? Tupac LaFleur himself. So, like, that's another feather in his cap that you would think, okay, he could potentially go out and find another Jeff Hafley, essentially. If Jeff Hafley gets promoted to a head coach somewhere else next year and Matt LaFleur has to replace Jeff Hafley, or just – that's the other thing. Look at the depth in which he's built this defensive coaching staff.
Yep.
Like, you've got a Derek Ansley and a DeMarcus Covington and some of these other guys ready to step right into a DC role, right back into a DC role. If Hafley was the head coach, you're trying to find an OC. Who do you go get?
Right.
Because, like, Ben Johnson is a head coach now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the top offensive coordinator in the league right now? I can't think of. There's not a name. It used to be Ben Johnson, right? But now he's got a head coaching job. Who would it be?
You're ready to go.
I'm genuinely asking, like, who would that guy be, right? So, and you guys know I'm very partial in this regard. Like, I believe your head coach should be an offensive coach.
I agree.
It's not to say that defensive coaches can't do great things, but look at the dynasty right now you got with the Chiefs. Andy Reid, former tight end coach for the Green Bay Packers, play caller for Mike Holmgren there for, I know, at least partially there 1 year. He goes to the Eagles and has great success, didn't win the big one. Then he goes to Kansas City, and he's arguably one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game. Now, people like to immediately point to Bill Belichick because that's a great defensive coach. Bill Belichick was literally helping Tom Brady draw up game plans on offense. Bill Belichick taught Josh McDaniels everything he knows about coaching, and he was the guy behind the scenes creating that offense with Tom Brady as well. Like, Bill Belichick is a well-rounded, or was in his prime. I mean, the guy's damn near 80 years old, or however old he is now. So I can't think of
another play caller, right? That's another factor too. Like, you can have an OC, or you can have an offense or defensive minded head coach that's putting in your scheme and installing everything. But at the end of the day, who's your play caller? Mm-hmm. And we've got a lot of we have some gripes with Matt with some of the jet sweeps on 3rd and 1 or whatever, those kind of things. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I give Matt like an A- as a play caller. I mean, just brilliant play calls over his tenure as head coach. So it's scheme, it's offensive mindset, but it's also like in the heat of battle, like are you on top of that call sheet, you know?
Right. Ed Madden says Matt picked half, Goody picked Matt LaFleur and Love. Hell, let's keep all three. I'm all about keeping all three, but I do want to correct you there, Ed. It's my understanding. There's many people that think that Brian Gutekunst hired Matt LaFleur. He did not. It was Mark Murphy that handpicked Matt LaFleur.
I was going to ask. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, and because I remember Mark Murphy specifically talking about, when Mark Murphy essentially hired Brian Gutekunst. When he interviewed Brian Gutekunst, it was literally, he said he went back and looked at the scouting reports. And Brian Gutekunst, hands down, had the most accurate scouting reports of anybody within their front office, right? And then he went and handpicked Matt LaFleur. Now, did Goody have some say in it? Probably, but that was Mark Murphy's baby.
Yep.
This isn't
what did Mark say? He said the same thing. Matt was the most prepared candidate that they
crushed the interview. Yep. I remember when they hired Matt LaFleur. Me as a fan, I wasn't doing this podcast yet, but I what do we always do? You immediately go look at the OC, the offense's number. He was the OC in Tennessee. Let's go look at how good he did. I went, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
Right. And then you dig a little deeper and go, oh, this is Sean McVay's dude. Gotcha. Maybe just Tennessee sucks.
Right.
Again, why did their offense struggle so bad? Who was their head coach? It was Mike Vrabel, a defensive-minded head coach.
Yep.
Somebody remind me, how did that end? He got fired, right? Like it's just constant cycle. It doesn't mean they can't catch lightning in a bottle and go on a run. We've seen Rex Ryan coach really, really well for the New York Jets when he wasn't talking about foot fetishes, right? He did really, really well, but he could never win the big one. And when it falls apart for a defensive coach, boy, does it fall apart. I mean, it's like you need that. I feel like you need that offensive-minded coach. Who was the last coach to win a Super Bowl for the Green Bay Packers? It was Mike McCarthy, right? Yeah. OC, quality control coach coming up, micromanager, his old quarterback camps, they're legendary. You don't believe me? Ask Aaron Rodgers. He was the OC in San Francisco the year before, right? So offensive-minded coach. Before that, who was the last coach to win a Super Bowl in Green Bay? Is Mike Holmgren, another former OC for the San Francisco 49ers, right? So
the only exception to the rule might be a guy like Mike Tomlin. And even Mike Tomlin has struggled. It's been tough to get over the hump as a defensive coach. I mean, you look at them bringing Aaron out there, it makes all the sense in the world, right? They're gonna let Aaron Rodgers do whatever the hell he wants to do with that offense. Yeah. So you're right, Clayton. I think I'd rather have an offensive-minded head coach all day.
Ed Madden said, my bad. Thanks, Clay. No, all good, man. And like, again, I've heard numerous people say that, and you guys fact check me on it. I'm almost positive that's how I remember. I just want to bring that up, Ed, that I'm pretty sure it was actually Mark Murphy that handpicked him. Go ahead, Amelia. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Because I was going to ask that. I'm glad that Ed brought it up. But, Tim, to that point, the Steelers, they were, I want to say it was 32 pound, one of them, they were asking, it's like, all right, this is the first time Aaron Rodgers is going to have an established head coach when because I mean, it was, Mike McCarthy was kind of young and stuff. They I guess the dynamic they were talking about, like Rodgers going over to Mike Tomlin being this is my place. You're not going to really get, your complete way. I'm just wondering how that's going to kind of go, right, with him going into like a head coach that has a lot more tenure, a lot more assertiveness in that locker room.
I would agree, but I think if you factor in the relationship between the two, we know the history between Aaron and Mike Tomlin. They got a lot of respect for each other. So I think I'm sure Tomlin would probably put his foot down and say, hey, this is how we do things here. But when it comes to the offense, I think Aaron's going to have a lot of input. He's going to have a lot of, leeway and a lot of freedom running those checks and audibles, things like that. So, it'll be interesting really to see how that turns out. Looking forward to going to Pittsburgh for that game this year.
Yeah.
And, the thing about Mike Tomlin, I remember when he was hired and he won that Super Bowl really, really early. You guys realize like the culture was the backbone of that Pittsburgh Steelers team that won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right.
You know who built that culture?
Bill Cowher.
It wasn't Mike Tomlin. It was Bill Cowher.
Yeah.
Bill Cowher built that culture. And it's like the farther you get removed from Bill Cowher being in Pittsburgh, you see it taper off. What is it? They haven't had a playoff win in how many? Was it over 10 years? What was it? When was the last
playoffs?
Tim, how are you that damn fast?
Seriously, I wasn't even ready for that. I want to say it's been over 10 years, but
yeah. Let's see if I can.
They went to 2 under Tomlin and they won 1. Correct. Of course, they caught that L in 2010.
They only won 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or was their last win in 2010? Like when they were making their playoff run?
Their last playoff win was in 2015. So this is 2015. So
that's I think what you get. You got a defensive-minded head coach. You got a team that wins. They make the playoffs consistently, but you're not really getting over the hump.
For 10 years, you haven't won a playoff game.
It's crazy, bro. And what's crazy too is his overall record in the playoffs and the history of his career, 8-11. So, yeah, it's just, again, I'm not trying to dog Tomlin. I'm just simply saying that's a perfect thing right here. You got Mark, Ed Madden. Tomlin's had to deal with some big personalities, so at least he's experienced. That's a very good point, right?
You're going to have no problem handling DK and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, guys dealt with AB, and, there's been plenty of that's a great point by Ed Madden there.
I don't know, man. I can't cut Tomlin as much of a break as most people do. Because, how did it get to the point where Le'Veon Bell sat out a full year and he never played for you again? How did it get to the point that Antonio Brown thought it was okay to film a video from the locker room during a locker room speech? That stuff doesn't just kind of happen overnight. You know what I mean? The other thing, too, could be the way that they've drafted. They've just kind of pushed that personality stuff off to the side a little bit, and that's why you got to appreciate the way the Packers truly run their organization. What's your problem, man?
Hey, fam. He said, hey, Clay, there wasn't an option for none of the above on the poll.
Of course. AFAM is saying he wants to get rid of Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, and Brian Gutekunst, all 3.
But updating the poll number here on YouTube, Clay, it looks like Jordan Love 47%, so he's come down a little bit. Matt LaFleur 28%, he's come down a little bit. Brian Gutekunst 26%.
We all know that AFAM's just in here killing time until the Chiefs podcast.
He's on every one of his burners. We know he has 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, he's
sit your butt outside.
Unbelievable. Here, I thought it was going to be the safest, fairest poll question in the history of poll questions. Unbelievable. All right, anything else on that? I thought that would be just kind of an interesting little conversation there, man.
For sure.
Anything good?
Yeah, right. That's a good one.
Soder says Roethlisberger was an ass in his private life, but was stable as a player. Different when the quarterback is personality driver / problem. Yeah. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds with this, but the whole Roethlisberger thing, he owned up to it, and he's since then turned his life around. I know he acknowledged that he had an ego problem. He acknowledged that he was a womanizer and all those horrible things, right? But one thing about Ben, you ask a Steelers fan how they feel about Ben, he is considered, and listen, he's got less championships to the best of my knowledge, but he's considered a much better quarterback than Terry Bradshaw. Now, it's mainly because Ben embraced that Pittsburgh area.
I mean, he's no Cordell Stewart, right? But,
Bro, Cordell Stewart's got a special place in my heart, man.
For sure.
I was a Steelers fan back then when, me and my brother rooting for the Steelers when I was just a kid. And Cordell Stewart / you guys don't know about Cordell.
Yeah, watch the tape.
His nickname was Slash because he could play running back. He could play wide receiver. He could play quarterback. He punted a couple of times. He could actually punt. You can go back and watch him at Colorado, I believe it was, so the Hail Mary. Emilio, you need to go watch.
I was going to say, not sure who you're talking about. I'm going to have to go check him out.
Yeah, I don't know if your parents even met yet when he was playing Emilio. You might have to dig through the archives.
Yeah, his nickname was Slash because he could do everything. He was kind of like, what Randall Cobb did at Kentucky, Cordell Stewart did with Pittsburgh, and I feel like he did it more effectively at Pittsburgh than Cobby did at Kentucky. And that's not a knock against Cobb. Now, Cordell never did get over the hump, but They got to the Super Bowl there against the Dallas Cowboys. And of course, Neil O'Donnell went colorblind in that game and just started throwing the ball to the other team, to the point where some people were questioning whether he threw the game. That was actually, I remember that being a topic at the time. Like, was this game fixed? Like, what? There was a fix in? So anyway, Cordell though, man, yeah, I'm with you, Tim, for sure. Which, by the way, we were talking about that 94 Green Bay Packer quarterback room the other day. God, it's just wild to think about. The quarterback room had Don Mikowski, right, going into that year. No, he was gone after 93. So Don Mikowski was gone. But it was Brett Favre. It was Ty Detmer, right? It was Mark Brunell, Kurt Warner. Like, I want to say 3 of those guys went on to – was Matt Hasselbeck in there in 94? Or did he come a little bit later? I think he might have come a little bit later.
I thought he was after the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, so probably like 97 or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, wild quarterback room. Wow. So, all right, there you go. So, again, the final on that poll question, Jordan Love leads the way here on Twitter, 57%. Matt LaFleur, actually, let me update it.
Refresh. I was going to say, would we get anything else? No.
Yeah, there it is. Jordan Love, 57%. Matt LaFleur, 32%. Brian Gutekunst, 10%. Now, on YouTube, however, a little bit different. Jordan Love, 47%. Now, Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur are tied at 27%. Far fewer votes in there. We've got 278 votes on Twitter and only 50 or 49 votes here on YouTube. So nonetheless, Jordan Love wins the poll question there. So
we lost. That's what you're saying.
Yes, we did. We lost.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. That's going to do it for hour 1.